Whoa. Yo, what up? What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Back again with another video. And this time, this is like a little bit more of a complicated video. It's not as simple as the other videos are. I mean, other videos aren't that simple either. But I had two conversations this weekend. One was with some folks who have been investing in real estate for like 40 years, longer than I've been alive. They've been doing this real estate game. And they're new to crypto, and they were asking questions, and we were talking about coins and whatnot. And the majority of the conversation was on money. It was like, how much money can I make? How much profit is there in this, etc., etc. And then I had a conversation with some folks. They're putting like $50, $100, $20 even, $200 into crypto. And to me, I would consider that all, it might be a big amount of money to you, personally. It might be a big amount of money. In the grand scheme of things, it's like, it's a pretty small amount of money that you're putting in. But if you don't have a whole lot, right, then that's what you can do for you. But in doing that and having that conversation with them, with the smaller, the new investors, the new people who are just new to investing in general, a majority of the conversation was around security, right? And I wanted to kind of contrast the two different mindsets. One is not worried about security, maybe because the investment money is disposable to a degree, right? And the other is worried about security because their investment money is not disposable. I mean, I guess it is disposable because of the amount, but that is still something that matters to them. You know what I mean? And I want you to think about, the way you approach crypto. Are you approaching it purely from a profit standpoint, or are you looking at this, from a security standpoint, in the way that you secure your investment? Now, the bigger money folks, you would think, would be playing more longer term, and they're not, because they already have other investments, right? And they want to play within the year or within the next 2 years. You know what I mean? That's like the investment term of what they're putting down. And it's, these are people who have, spent a lot of their lives trying to accumulate US dollars, and they're in that groove. Like that groove in their brain is so deep. You know what I mean? Because it's just been worked so much that, that's what's important to them, right? And the other folks, they're more like trying to play, 2, 4, 5, 10-year terms, you know what I'm saying? Investment terms. And, they're not so quick to just jump out of the scene. And there's a statistic that is pretty powerful when you really sit down, think about it, analyze it, and all that. And the statistic is, there's not one person. Here's the statistic, is that almost everybody, including myself, has bought Bitcoin. And if I sold it within 4 months, right? Within 4 months, I sold it at a loss, right? Like, it's not guaranteed that happens every time, but it's possible. And I've done it where I've bought Bitcoin and sold it at a loss within a 4-month time span. You know what I mean? And typically I'm buying, if I sell any crypto, it's coin that, I bought for short term anyway, and I just bought it and left it in there, see what it does. And I've sold at a loss before, you know what I mean? Smaller amounts, you know what I mean? Now you take that same person, or you take that same first part of the statistic, like historically, financially, you look at the chart. Anybody who's bought Bitcoin and sold it 4 years later, right? So the first one was 4 months. This one's 4 years later, has always turned a profit, and the profit has been pretty good. If you look back at the charts in the 4-year time span. And so it was kind of interesting, the folks who do have a lot to lose, you know what I'm saying? Who do have a lot to lose, not so focused on, securing their investment, not just from the security standpoint, that Bitcoin is the most secure database to ever exist, but even from a security standpoint in terms of strategy for securing their investment. And when you think about that, it's just something to note. And you should want to think about how you view crypto, how you view this thing. What's your approach? You know what I mean? Are you thinking in terms of security, or are you thinking in terms of profit? And let me tell you, man, I had a conversation with a very famous, he's not just a motivational speaker, he's real famous, bro. He's like, he's like the motivational speaker for motivational speakers, you know what I'm saying? And we were in Napa, and I was talking to him, and he's like multi-millionaire, okay? Like this guy is not no lightweight, right? And we were talking about Bitcoin, and he bought Bitcoin at maybe 3 or 4 grand, and it went up to 20 grand, and he was like over the moon, right? And then he didn't touch it, and then he looked back like maybe 6 months or a year later, and it had dropped like crazy, right? And he was like, well, shoot, and he got out. You know what I mean? He was like, man, I'm not doing this no more. It dropped crazy. I had so much money, and he was playing with a lot of money at the time. And then by the time we had this conversation, this is like summer of 2021, it was back up again, and he regretted selling. So he bought back in. You know what I mean? And this is what I'm saying, man. Like, if you're only looking at Bitcoin in regards to its price, if that's all you know about it, if that's the only reason why you're getting in is because of price, I promise you it's going to skew your vision in such a way that makes, losing money quite a high, probability. All right. Price is like the least important thing when it comes to Bitcoin. And I know like it's hard for people to believe. And I know it's difficult to wrestle with that because, crypto, you hear about so many people making all this money super fast and blah, blah, blah. And it's true, it's happening, but at the same time, if you don't understand, the mechanisms that give it the value, right? So a millionaire, might play Bitcoin like that. A billionaire will not play Bitcoin like that. Somebody messing with billions of dollars will see the frenzy, right? And if they have the time, if they respect it enough to give it the time, if they humble themselves enough anyway to give it the time that they're going to need to wrap their head around it, then they start to understand why, right? The millionaire might go for, what is it? How does it work? How can I make money, right? The billionaire is the first thing they're going to figure out is why. Why the hell is it $40,000? What makes it that? Why is it like that? Why is so many people buying it? Why does Tesla have $2 billion in Bitcoin? Why does Michael Saylor have $5 billion in Bitcoin? Why does Fidelity have a Bitcoin mining department? You know what I mean? Why is NYDIG fulfilling $25 billion of crypto orders from large corporations and institutions in a single year, in 2020 of all years? You know what I mean? Why is El Salvador accepting it as legal currency? Why did Putin stop the Central Bank of Russia from instituting a blanket ban on Bitcoin? You know what I mean? The billionaire is going to think about why, right? And by coming to the why, you get all this other stuff: who, what, where, when, how. You learn all that other stuff to get to the why, right? And when you get to the why, when that's your focus, and you want to focus on why Bitcoin is Bitcoin, and why it's where it's at, and why there's it's almost like a cult-like religion around this thing, financially anyway, and even esoterically, philosophically, the ethos around it and all that. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on like that. But when you focus on the why, when the why is very important to you, then you start to see the very large picture, the big picture. And when you see big picture, you can start to make moves that are indicative of, human behavior and pattern recognition for, psychology, the psychology behind investing and whatnot. You could start to see the geopolitical moves, the political moves, the socioeconomic aspects of looking at Bitcoin, right? And when you start doing that, man, you start to make a lot better decisions, and you start to play a lot longer term. The shorter term stuff, it doesn't always bother you, right? You start to play much longer term, and you start to play things, that you start to plant seeds to try to reap a reward instead of going hunting to try to kill something right now. You know what I'm saying? So that's my 2 cents, man. I just wanted to talk to you guys about that. Wanted to just, touch base with you and the thinking you have towards Bitcoin. And hopefully, you start to learn as much as you can, because that is directly going to impact how much of a profit you're going to earn. You know what I mean? You learning this is going to impact how much money you're going to make. The more you learn, the more you will make. Just like anything, you know what I mean? But man, in crypto, you can really be rewarded from your research. So yeah, man. So my 2 cents, man. Holla at me. Shoot me something in the comments. Shoot me a DM. Hit me up. You know what I mean? I'm about to drop a TikTok and you open up a TikTok page. You feel me? We go live every Wednesday on Crypt Talk Wednesdays on Twitter. You know what I mean? Follow me. And yeah, man, peace out. Love you. Be safe.